Hello everyone, welcome back to Crow's Whisper Tarot. Today we're going to be looking at your future child and see any personality traits, how they're going to come about in your life, and also any extra messages that they have for you today. So let's jump into the reading. Welcome pile 1. Sorry for the noise in the background that you might hear. My neighbour's just working on his garden. So let's jump into your reading. Starting off, we have the King of Swords. And we also have the Two of Cups. So from that perspective, for some of you, you might be having more than one child. You might be having twins potentially as well. But they are extra intelligent regardless. They have a very creative mind. They're very much wanting to research things, understand the world in more detail, really trying to, go about their lives as much as possible. Again, could be an air sign based on this as well. So that is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. But for some reason, I'm getting more of an Aquarius energy from this group. And it can be that they are really focused on being strong and independent, and also being able to find their own way through life. I don't necessarily see them as a rule breaker, but they're willing to sort of push the boundaries a bit with the things that they want to investigate. This could be the kid who ends up digging through the garden to find worms as well, if they are interested in figuring out different insects and things like that, potentially as well. But they're definitely very affectionate, very family orientated. They have strong values over time. But again, they're someone who definitely likes to adventure on, be able to really plan things out, look into the future. They have very strong intentions to sort of find their way through life. And that definitely shows with the way they attempt to investigate life and things like that. You might find, because they're so, a thinking personality trait, they struggle with identifying certain emotions in other people, or sort of ignoring certain emotions in people. For example, if someone's upset, instead of trying to comfort them, they sort of don't know what to do and sort of stay in limbo for a bit of time. I feel like this is something that they'll just have to work through in life, being able to be more emotionally vulnerable with other people. I don't see them as keeping to themselves, but they sort of just freeze and don't know what to do when someone's upset. And that makes them frustrated with themselves more than with the situation that they're put in, because they sort of want to respond, but they just don't know how. And so it becomes a bit of a game for them with trying to understand themselves and understand other people around them. So let's get a few more messages into their personality and the type of kid they would be. Okay. So we have the Eight of Swords, the Ace of Wands, the Fool card, the Hanged Panda, and the Hierophant. So I am getting that they definitely have very deep thoughts. They want to, again, investigate the world, but they also want to try and maintain some sort of traditional value or traditional family value that you sort of bring them up with. It's sort of carry it along with them. They could also be someone who potentially may need glasses long term, or they might have some vision issues, but we all do, seeing as we all use our phones. But overall, it is something that they are strongly driven by their values and also their, want to learn new things. So definitely an intellectual, regardless of how they sort of go about doing it. What you might find is the one thing that you'll notice about them is they would be really, really tall when they grow up. And it's incredibly obvious when you sort of watch them grow for the first few years of their life. They'll be a very big child. They'll be almost half your height by the time they're 3. Like, they are going to be a tall baby. The other thing is that they are probably going to have some feature in terms of their appearance where it's slightly unusual in terms of your family traits and what they end up inheriting. It's almost like they get the recessive gene of whatever it is that is part of your family. For example, if all your family has, brown eyes, they'll end up with having, green eyes or blue eyes or something like that. So there's some sort of family trait that doesn't quite match up to the rest of the family, and it sort of throws you off a little bit. Or it could be that as they're younger, their hair is like dead straight, and then by the time they grow up, it starts to get more and more curly as they age. That could also be a possibility. So we also have the 8 of Swords, and from this I'm getting, again, that sort of energy where they don't know how to react, or despite them wanting to act in a certain way, they just can't carry out that as easily as they would like. But it's really up to them to sort of be encouraged to sort of push their own boundaries, try and be more vulnerable, try and, at least instigate some kind of response. Because I think they sort of freeze deer in headlights and they don't have any idea of how to go about the situation, how to change things. And so they almost have this like internal panic and they don't really know how to move past it. But because I think yourself and your family will sort of support them along the line and really encourage them to try to showcase some sort of emotion, some sort of response, and over time that will end up improving. But I think for the most part they're a little bit shy when it comes to emotional heavy situations, but in terms of personality traits and things like that, they're definitely someone who is very dynamic. I am getting that they can also be pretty social if they put their mind to it or if they're in the right group. But it is something that they probably want to consider for you. In terms of their message for you, in terms of who, or any other messages I should say, but they do want you to know that you can manifest them into being if you so choose to. You can manifest anything that you want as long as you sort of put your thoughts towards it, put your mind towards it, and it definitely will happen. The other thing that they wanted to let you know is that it is possible that if you are with someone and you think that they could potentially be a good parent with you, and that you can see yourself having a child with this person, they just want you to reconsider that there may be potentially someone else who is probably more suitable for you as a co-parent. It could also be that they want you to consider all your options and be sure of if you're with the right person or not, and sort of really consider your options and don't sort of jump into things without really thinking it through, is really what they want you to know. But that is your reading, pile 1. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading on your future's child. we start off with the Strength card, and we also have the Seven of Swords. So your future child could be someone who is very much about pranking, breaking the rules to some extent, being a bit of a troublemaker. I won't lie about that. With that Seven of Swords energy, bit of a trickster there. But in terms of their strength, that has come up as well. They're definitely someone who really knows their inner self. They're very much knowing who they want to be, where they want to go. They already have a plan in mind of what they want to achieve. And so that will become really obvious when they're a child. You can really see from when they start interacting with different toys and things, they have a sort of genre that they really, really like. And that's just going to continue from when they're a child to when they're older. It's not going to be like they try, different things that they're interested in and sort of experiment and then decide. They know from the get-go exactly what they like, and they're just going to stick to it until they're an adult, essentially. So that can be, a number of things. It can be related to sports, to music, to dance, to any other hobby under the sun. If they have an interest in it, they will stick to it. For example, if, you get them a toy car when they're a kid and then they end up being an F1 driver in the end, it's one of those things where once they stick to some sort of genre, they just sort of stick with it. It's not going to be something that fluctuates that much. The other thing that I'm picking up in terms of this future child is they're going to come to you at a time where you're moving away from something. Could be you're moving jobs, moving cities, changing houses, something like that. You're going to go through some sort of change before this child sort of pops into your life. And they're going to bring, and it's going to be one of those changes that you've planned months and months ahead, but then it's suddenly, time to go, time to move. And then you go to this new place and then you find out you're pregnant, literally within, 48 hours of moving to that place. So it's just something to consider that is a possibility. Keep in mind, it is a general reading, but that is more or less the vibe that I'm getting, is it's going to be at a time where you're moving on to one thing or another, you're changing places, changing situations, and it just comes out of nowhere that you are in fact pregnant. Any other messages about their future child? Now that is a lot of cards. I'm just going to take the top 4. Ooh. So we have the Two of Cups. We have the Judgment card, the Knight of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Swords. Okay, so we're getting lots of number 2 coming up here. For some of you, it could be twin boys. For others of you, it could definitely be that highly likely there's either multiple children or you will have children very, very close together in age at the same sort of situation. So you're getting pregnant straight after one after the other. But the one thing that with the Judgment card that is coming through is that this is going to be a pregnancy that Spirit really wants you to have. So it could be that you're almost destined to have this child, or children, I should say, and it's something that drives you more than you know. And because they are somewhat very similar, I feel like more or less Spirit is just wanting you to know that regardless of what your expectations are in terms of having kids, timing of, moving houses, whatever plans you have in your life, this would be at a time that is perfect for you, where you are going to be your most secure self, your most comfortable self to have this child, or children, I should say. And it's not even about you making that decision. It's already almost decided for you. I know it's sort of strange to hear that, but if you believe that, you know, the spirit of the child chooses the family it goes to, then this is one of those situations where it's already predetermined what soul is going to be your child. So if that is for you, keep that in mind. But in terms of the appearance, I am getting that they are most likely, if they are twins, they are going to be identical. You're going to find that one personality is going to be completely different to the other, but they're going to be very, very similar. The one thing that is very similar about them is they're very caring, very giving. They're very sensitive to the emotions of the people around them, and they're also very sensitive to what is important to them. They're sensitive to making sure that they're reading the room really well. It's just I'm not sure if it's something that you guys teach them or that they are already really good at, but they'll have a very good ability to read the room, read the emotions of the people in the room, and be able to adapt to any situation that comes their way. They definitely can be a social butterfly as well. There are lots of butterflies actually in a few of these images. But they are someone who really wants to do the best for the people around them. It could be that later on in life they do a lot of volunteering or being really involved in the community as well when they grow up. But they definitely have at their core a very jokester energy. So they're very much about making people laugh, bringing joy to people, and then working with other people as well. Just want to get a few more cards. I didn't mean that many cards. So we also got the High Priestess and the 10 of Pentacles. I think family units are incredibly important for your children. And I think more than anything, they really want to build on, again, community and build on being able to be close to the people around them, rely more on the people around them. And they can be very close to other family members as well. They can be close to grandparents, aunts and uncles. They have really good connection to the people around them, and even when, you know, they go into school, into uni, they're going to have a very strong community around them. They're not going to be necessarily someone who struggles to make friends. They're going to be, again, a very social butterfly with every situation, and that's going to bring them a lot of joy and success ultimately. So we also have the High Priestess. So it could be that your future child is going to be someone who is very much about being able to be spiritually connected. It can also be that they are very determined to absorb different cultures, take on an understanding of different cultures, religions as well. So they could start investigating those in a bit more detail to get a bit more understanding. Again, because I feel like they are such socially adept, they're willing to mix well with other cultures and be really open to that. So it can be later on in life they are going to try and understand different cultures in as much detail as they can muster. Potentially they can be traveling quite a lot when they're older as well. But that is, I think, all the messages that about them. But there's a few messages for you as well from your future child. So we have caution. Find out more information. Don't overwork yourself. whatever situation you find yourself in at the time of this reading, know that being able to understand all aspects of things, understanding what is right for you and what is not right for you, and what information you're getting as well. Just be really cautious of that. It can also be that during the pregnancy you might get a lot of information from a number of people, and so just make sure that you understand what is right for you. Do your research as thoroughly as possible rather than relying on just statements from people around you. And we also have Mercury retrograde, communication issues, review everything. Again, whatever situation you find yourself in at the time of this reading, keep in mind that it is probably best that you focus more on getting as much understanding and stability with everything in your life, being able to voice your opinions, being able to listen to other people's opinions effectively, and really plan out in detail how things are going to work out for you is really going to be important at this time. So that was your reading, pile 2. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hello, pile 3. Let's get into your future child and who they are. We start off with the Sun card. This is one of my favorites in this deck. The Sun card is literally saying that your future child is going to be a joy to be around. It can also be that this is going to be your first child as well. For some of you, it can also be that this child is going to bring a lot of joy and success and happiness to your lives as well. And especially because the Sun is Leo energy, they can be someone who is very outgoing, very much wanting to be in the spotlight, wanting attention for themselves as well. So they can definitely draw in a lot of people's attentions or really crave that attention from other people. And we also have the 10 of Cups. This child is going to be, for some of you, even a rainbow baby. They are going to bring a lot of joy and happiness into your family and into your lives as well. Just keep that in mind. You might find that as this individual will be very connected to the people around them, especially the people they grow up with. They have a very strong connection to family and are very sensitive to, changes in family dynamics or changes in just the moods of the people in their family. They're very sensitive to that, and they definitely keep an eye on that sort of thing as well. In terms of the timing of when this child might come about in your life, we have the Knight of Cups and we also have the Page of Pentacles. So it can be that with the Knight of Cups, you may be going through, a phase of meeting new people or being really active socially. And with the Page of Pentacles, you are starting in a new profession or trying out new activities in life, so different hobbies, things like that. You might be experimenting a little bit, and through that time frame of when you start doing that more and enjoying yourself more, it's more likely that you will get a pregnancy at that time as well. And I would say just one thing to keep in mind is just be really aware of who you surround yourself with if you are looking to become pregnant, just because I feel like energetically this child is really needing a comfortable, safe environment. So it would need that from the get-go for things to really happen. So if you're finding that you're trying and nothing's quite working out easily, just keep in mind that that might be because of the environment as well having an impact. And it's one of those things where you're stressed, and this could be, again, maybe not so much at the time you get pregnant, but even, during the prenatal stage, up to you give birth, it's really important to have a very safe and secure environment, because it definitely can impact how things go in terms of the pregnancy. that is a lot of cards. So I'm just going to take so we also have the Two of Wands, the Queen of Wands, the King of Cups, the Eight of Cups, the Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and the Three of Swords. So again, environment is really important, making sure that it is secure environment, not causing any distress, not causing any difficulty. That's really, really important for you. And again, with the Queen of Wands and King of Cups, this child is going to be someone who is very passionate. Again, Leo energy with that sun and sunflower. Just keep in mind that no matter what you do in terms of how you choose to raise this child is going to be someone who is very emotionally intelligent. They're going to follow their heart, undoubtedly, especially with Wands and Cups. They are going to be someone who follows their instincts, follows their desires. They're not going to be someone who really overthinks things. They're definitely leading more with their heart than their mind, with almost every scenario that comes their way. So just keep that in mind in terms of their personality. You might find that this child, as they get older, they're really interested in traveling, exploring new cultures, being able to really identify well with people around them. It can also be that they sort of end up living in different countries as a child as well, if that's something that applies to you. What you might find though with this child is because they are very much interested in, showing off their talents, their ambitions, they can get a little bit argumentative, or they can get a little too ambitious with what they want to do and what they have to say. It can be that at some points in time they become a little too much in their head about what they want to do and may struggle to listen to the advice or criticism from other people, and that might take a bit of time for them to settle down. And what you might find in terms of their appearance, they can be someone who takes a while for puberty to hit them. It could be that they have a delay in some sort of way. For some children, it can be that it takes a while for them to take their first steps, or take a while for them to, be able to speak or, say sentences and things like that. So it can be a number of things that are going to be a little bit slower with this child, but they are definitely going to have a very happy, comfortable life as well. And with the Eight of Cups, you might find that they don't deal with loneliness very well. And it could be that if you do move to different locations or different cities or countries or things like that, you might find that the amount of time it takes for this child to adapt to new situations could be quite a while. And it sort of doesn't quite match their personality when it happens. But I think there's a bit of as I said from earlier, with them being really close to the community they grow up with. Once they adapt to that, it's really hard for them to move away from those types of things. So you might find with this child that they end up, really attached to certain people or really attached to certain environments. And so it takes a really long time for them to really adapt to new situations and being able to understand why certain things are happening in their life and what sort of things, they have to adapt to. So you might find that as well. So there's a few comments from your future child on your current life as well. So if you have a question that you want answered right now, the answer is yes, luck is on your side. And also, if you're finding that again, things are new and exciting, definitely go for it. Cycles are really important. Going through new phases and ending old ones is really important for you, and also very important for being able to experience your future child as well. So just keep in mind that you will be going through a number of different situations to really get a full understanding of the things in your life that are happening. With the cycles as well, it can mean that certain things may be changing over the period of time that you end up watching this video. It can be that things are becoming more complex, changing quite rapidly, but they are all meant to happen to enforce things that are going on in your life. Very vague, but that is the message that I'm getting. So that was your reading, pile 3. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Welcome, pile 4, to your future child reading. We start off with the Moon card. So it can be that this future child of yours is someone who really is interested in understanding, the planets around them. They might have little sticky stars on the ceiling as night lights as well. You might find that this child also is a bit of a night owl. You might find that during the night they really want to stay awake. They don't really want to sleep. Also, this individual could be very much having a very high spiritual connection to the environment around them. You might find that they start to sort of have a lot of dreams, or they could be one of those kids who wakes up in the middle of the night, comes into your room and talks about their dream, that sort of thing. We also have the 9 of Wands. This is a child who is very much about their daily routine. They don't really want to strive away from it. They very much, have a set routine that they sort of want to stick to, and they don't really mind sticking to it despite it being the same food every day, the same, routine every day. They're very much comfortable with those sorts of environments. They're also a really hard worker, so they might be doing a lot of puzzles, a lot of activities throughout the day. So you might be needing to schedule different activities for them to do. It could be that they have multiple days of like basketball, of netball, of sports lined up one after the other in a day, and by the end of the day you would think they would be tired, but no, they're still going. So they're going to be someone who is very much high energy and possibly also a night owl, so definitely keep that in mind. Now we also have the 6 of Swords and the 9 of Cups. So in terms of when this child will come into your life, it definitely seems that they're going to come in at a time that is very much significant for you, in terms of something that makes you really happy, a change that is really much something that you want to happen and want to enjoy. That's when the pregnancy will take place. So overall, it's going to be an energy of change that is really, really important, but change that really benefits you is very, very significant. So that can be a number of things, but I'm not getting any specifics on that in this pile at all. So let's get a few more messages as to their future child. We have the Wheel of Fortune, the Temperance card, and the 6 of Swords again. Okay. So it could be that your future child is someone who is very lucky in terms of the things they manage to get through, in terms of what they're offered in life. It could be that this child is someone who can at times be a bit clumsy, but yet they don't get too injured, which is always a good sign. You might find with your future child that they are very imaginative. They almost always have their head in the clouds. they sort of have their fingers and everything, have their, you know, toes and everything. They're very much about exploring, getting things done, high imagination, which drives them a lot of the time. It could be for some of you that this is also an Aquarius or Pisces individual who is very much about the dreamscape and, you know, the larger picture of things. You might also find that your future child is someone who, again, likes exploring, but is also someone who is very determined to experience as much in life as possible, and so they almost put themselves in different situations to try and reach their goals or reach their dreams, so to speak, as well. Can I get extra information as to their appearance? Okay, so we have the Three of Swords. So this is someone who, this is actually quite funny. I'm getting this child could have a resting bee face. They could be very much having a scowl on their face when they are in this sort of dreamscape as their natural appearance, or they could just have a completely blank face as well. I don't see this child as being highly emotional, but they do have a temper when it does come down to things. And I feel like it's more related to their routine than anything else. If you give them something that is out of the ordinary, or if you sort of don't inform them in advance about the activities of the day, they tend to have a bit of a temper. You might also find that this child tends to be really determined to deal with a lot of difficult scenarios. They have a lot of, again, because there's so much in their head, they sort of think up scenarios that may not happen. They might be over imaginative from that perspective as well, where they sort of make situations worse in their heads than what is reality. And that can be sometimes their downfall for themselves, but they can't actually pick themselves up from these situations. So just keep that in mind as well. But overall, this child definitely has a lot of love and a lot of care for the people around them. They have, despite them being so much in their head, their thoughts and patterns are meant to help them through a lot of difficult situations that they have. And so the more they can explore themselves, the more they can understand themselves, the better their overall emotions about the world around them and being able to participate in the world around them improves. So it might be beneficial to really let them explore themselves when they're younger than 10, and as much as possible, even if it is doing random stuff all the time, but it allows them to really understand who they are, what they want to do, and being able to really achieve what they like. And by doing that, you end up with a individual who is very strong, very opinionated, but knows what they want. And again, the King of Wands is actually sometimes an entrepreneur as well, so they can actually start new businesses. They have a lot of dreams, a lot of ambition for what they want to do, and they are able to plan it out and have these incredible ideas for whatever they want to do as well. And so they're definitely someone who can definitely utilize their skills long term, with their mind being able to dream things, and also with the Wheel of Fortune being so lucky. I think you can expect a lot of exciting things from them in the future. So they have a few messages for you at this point in time. So the first message is move on. Someone is unavailable, a waste of your time, it's over. Could be a message for you at this moment, or perhaps it is what is the change is that you are going through at the time of the pregnancy, depending on what your circumstances are. But it can also mean that, you know, being open to change is really, really important for you, because I feel like this child is going to bring about a lot of change in your life, and a lot of complexities in your life. So being open to things happening, being able to enter new doors, being able to create new doors for yourself is going to be really, really, really important. We also have intimacy, sexual chemistry, reminiscing. Just keep in mind that whatever you choose to do, it's really important that you keep in mind that this pregnancy can happen very quickly for this group. So just keep that in mind with any intimate situations, that you know what may happen and you are prepared for what might happen, is all I will say on that. So that was your message, pile 3. Hope you pile 4. Hope you enjoyed it. Please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.